Doomsday 3.
We're in Doomsday 1. He came from one of the toughest areas of the league. All his friends.
You got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just got to say, over Dallas Cowboys. Well,
For sure, they would have thrown it off because
And then I go to bed every night like, hey, man, I promise you that. What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. You know, I was just chilling. My wife went out, do a little cheer thing. So, you know, your boy's home alone like a dog. I either watch Survivor, watch my shows, or I just, you know, come in here and just, I was going to record something, but I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do that, I might as well just go live. I mean, what the hell's the difference? So hopefully if you guys are checking this out live, great. If you're checking this out later, that's even better. But if you are doing anything, make sure you guys hit that subscribe. If you're new to the channel, if you're heading, you know, if you're watching on X or Twitter, scoot over to YouTube at some point, hit that subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. It don't cost you a nickel, man. And all you're doing is helping out the channel, showing some love to your boy. So nothing wrong with that. And, you know, the times that we've had, you know, this off season, you got to show as much love as you can. And my theme was the life of a Cowboys fan. So I recorded something for like 30 minutes, just kind of talking about my life as a Cowboys fan from, you know, from beginning to end. And, you know, the good times, the bad times. And I, you know, you get to thinking when you start reliving some of these moments, I mean, really, you know, we talk about the 90s so much because they were so great. And I've had all these guests on from the 90s and, you know, former players telling, you know, talking about the stories and how great everything was. And you think about it, man, it was just a short period of time. I mean, you think about New England and the success they had. I mean, that's like 20 years with Tom Brady. I mean, the Cowboys, really, that 90s was only 5 years. When I got to start thinking about it, I'm going through it. I'm like, shit, man, that was only 5 years. And it was such a great time. And it was, everyone always asks why you always talk about it. Well, I mean, those were the good times, man. Those are Super Bowl years. And we had a lot of hope, and we still got a lot of hope. I'm not giving up yet, but, you know, we've been 3 years, 12 wins. I mean, that hasn't happened, you know, that kind of success since the 90s. And we got nothing to show for it. We don't have, you know, no hardware. You know, you got a couple division championships, right? If you want to call them that. But I mean, no one really cares about that. No one really cares about that. But yeah, no, I mean, those years, I was thinking about it, man. It's just, it was an interesting time. And I'm debating on whether I play that video and just put it out there. Cause you know, it's about 40 minutes, long. So it's a lot of stuff going through the history of it. So I don't know if you guys find it entertaining or not, but you know, it's just hope. Now, don't be giving me, Claudio, see this, I'm going to interact with the fans and all the, you know, the football fans. My man, Claudio, he's one who knows I was Dallas Cowboy when they were shitty. And then they started getting better. But Claudio, you're talking about these Dolphins, man. You know, them Dolphins, they hadn't won. That's what's crazy. The Dolphins hadn't won since the undefeated season, right? Or was it the year after? Whatever one it was. It was 73 or whatever they won. They hadn't won a Super Bowl in so damn long. Claudio, I don't even know if you were born yet. I wasn't. And but they don't get talked about like the Cowboys do. They don't get dogged out. And that's why I was saying the life of a Cowboys fan isn't easy. Because I can't go anywhere in life through my whole life. If I take my little kids to Disney World and I wear my Cowboy stuff, because that's the way I am, man. I love wearing my Cowboy stuff, and I'll get shit from somebody. I'll get some comment, some smart ass comment, and then I got to be nice about it. My wife will kind of bugs me. Don't start. But I got to defend my team, man. That is, you know, when you're Dallas Cowboy, it's, you know, that's the way it goes, man. We defend them until I die. And, you know, the other part of the life of a Cowboy on the good side, it's like I said in that video, is the opportunity to meet people, the opportunity to meet someone like Cuts by Jones, who does fantastic cuts. You see the Miami Hurricanes one behind me. You see the Mike Tag piece. He's done the piece above that. That's the family piece. It's hard to see. But that's the cool thing of being a Cowboys fan. I made friends. I mean, I made friends for life that I would never have been able to meet had it not been for the Dallas Cowboys. So we get our shit. And in this offseason, the media is having their field day with us, and rightfully so. I mean, doesn't look like we're doing all the right things as outsiders as we're looking onto this, and we're seeing, not the players leaving. I don't really have a problem with the players leaving. I got a problem with we're not really replacing them. And then you got your quarterback in limbo. And then they hadn't signed CD yet. Well, the price doesn't go down, and maybe they're waiting. I get it. They're not in a huge rush to do it, but I just think the optics of it is what is frustrating. Get CD signed, make a decision on Dak, either move on from him or give him an extension. At this point, I could care less. I just want to go in knowing what the future holds, what that is. And I just don't know if they know yet. They're still trying to figure it out. But yeah, it ain't easy. But we are built different. We can handle this shit. There ain't no Cuts by Jones. That's probably the best way to put it. I need to put that quote. I should have used that in my video, because it ain't easy. But we are built different, and it's like I say, we're almost like a gang, Cowboys Nation. And if you mess with, we fight amongst each other, but if someone from the outside comes in. We saw it. Cuts, you saw it at the tailgate party. At the end of the tailgate, we go out there and it's all Cowboys fans. All of a sudden, they're fighting. They're fighting with each other after the game. After the game we just won, mind you, not a game we lost, and they're fighting with each other. But if that was a Jets time, if one of them Jets fans would have creeped in, those people fighting would have turned. Everyone would have turned on the Jets fan, and the poor Jets fan would have got his ass whooped. That's what Cowboys Nation is. That's what Cowboys Nation is. That was it in an afternoon. Except for twerking for chicken, and I still very upset I did not get that caught on video. That would have been a viral video that, Cuts and I could have maybe profited off of. But since he was the chef, I have to make sure I give him the credit. But yeah, I mean, and I'll never understand fighting at a football game. It just makes zero sense to me. But people do it. Alcohol probably has a lot to do with it. I'm sure that's the majority of it. But you see some crazy fools acting like that. You just sit back and watch. And nowadays you can get your camera so then you can record it. And it's something for everyone to laugh at later on. But really, the life of a Cowboys fan, it's being tested. It's being tested, and it's being tested because my work is going to be harder. How the hell am I supposed to hype you guys up? Now, I'm going to do it. I've been thinking about it. And in this offseason, I'm like, man, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to close the door forever. Maybe it's time that I just, they're not giving me that hope that you always want to have. So there's got to be something brewing. There's got to be something happening. God can't be this cruel to us for this long. There's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's got to be something. And maybe this is the kind of funky year that we're going to have, and loyalty is going to be tested. And I'm keeping tabs on it. All you guys that are bashing, if things turn around, I don't want to see you jumping back on the wagon, because that's the other part of the life of a Cowboys fan I talked about, is when you got, you're winning. When I was in high school, the Cowboys finally started winning in the 90s, and I wish I enjoyed it and appreciated it as much. But what pissed me off is all the bandwagon fans, all the fans that, I was wearing this shit when they were getting their ass whooped in middle school and elementary school. And I got the pictures to prove it. I put it on the thumbnail, and I get these guys giving me a hard time. And then they want to jump on the wagon. It used to piss me off. And that's the life of a Cowboys fan. You got to deal with that stuff. We know who the real ones are, and we know who the fake ones are. And again, that's the beauty of a true Cowboys fan. You can read the fake ones. You can ask a couple easy questions, and you can definitely pin them out. But yeah, so let's see. Maybe I should hype up the Cowboys Nation in a video. Maybe that is something in the works. Maybe that's something that we've got to work on. So I appreciate that, Cuts. And I hate to say this, but as long as Jerry owns a team, we'll never see a Super Bowl winner again. Well, he owned the team when they won 3, so we got to give him that. Not many owners have that. but it's starting to get to that point where he's on the borderline. He's getting close to that Al Davis comparison. And I would say, Jack, that is the part that worries me, is those who remember the Al Davis later years. That's what I'm starting to see in Jerry, and that concerns me a lot. And I hope that's not the case. But it seems like it may be. So, Kelly, we're on live tomorrow. This is impromptu. This was impromptu. If Kelly sees me yapping, he may jump in, but this is impromptu. We have our live show tomorrow, and we got Sherman Williams coming in, former Cowboy, former Alabama, broke my Miami Hurricanes heart in the national championship. So we're going to be talking about that. But yeah, so this is, I just did an impromptu because my wife is out. She went to a cheer thing. I'm chilling out home. So I was putzing around on the computer. I'm like, you know what? I was going to record a video. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just go live? If people are hanging out with me, and right now there's 145, so I must have did something right. Maybe you guys are bored too. You come over to the cave, but hopefully if you guys are watching, you shoot over to YouTube and hit that subscribe and check it out. But yeah, he also asked God to give him that third. That is true. That is true. He asked, he signed it, what we call sign a deal with the devil. And Jerry Jones signed a deal with the devil for that third Super Bowl championship. And the reason I say that I think he did, I have never been a part of a Super Bowl or a team that has lost in the playoffs so bad. And what I mean by bad, I'm talking about breaking your heart bad. I'm talking about the worst possible losses that you could have. They seem to do. And it blows my mind. I don't understand it. But it makes you feel like that maybe there is something to that. Maybe there is something to that. Maybe there is something to that Super Bowl deal with the devil, because we just look bad. What's up, Coles? Hey, man, I was going to tell Coles, and we're going to announce it Thursday, but next draft, man, any of you guys, we're going to be hanging. So any of my friends, any of my Cowboy Nation friends and content creators, it's an open door, man. Kelly and I are just going to be chilling here, have a few drinks, talk some draft, talk some football. So if any of you guys want to chill out for a little bit, make sure you come over and hang out in the cave next Thursday. We'll put up the live stream, man. You just hop in and let's just cut it up and have a good time. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be good. Sherman Williams, it's an interesting story, and a lot of people can dog him. I mean, a lot of people can say, hey man, that guy did was drug dealing and transporting drugs and yada yada, and that's bad shit. Don't get me wrong, it's bad, and he'd be the first to tell you. He made some bad choices, and he talks about going back and in that circle of friends, and the friends were the ones who turned on him, and basically that he'll get into the story, but it's tough, man. But he served his time, and he's trying to he's found a better way to give back and to make a negative into a positive. So you can't, you can do nothing but appreciate that. And I'm trying to get this thing out of my way because it's bothering me. There we go. You can do nothing but appreciate that as a fan and as just a human and as somebody that it betters themselves. I mean, we all made bad choices. I didn't make a choice, to that extreme, of course, and a lot of people don't, but he paid his debt. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And yeah, no, appreciate it. So Cal, I'll be there. Hopefully if we don't draft anyone day one, and that's the thing. Do they trade down? And you do these mock drafts, and I think they can get some of the guys they want if they were to trade down. So I think, to Cole's point, maybe they don't get anybody. Maybe they won't have anybody, at that time. So, and if they don't, it's not going to be the worst possible thing. So that is something in there, because we need help in a lot of areas. I don't want to say help, man. I want to be one of these doom and gloom guys. I mean, we still have a lot of talent on this team. Don't shit yourself. I mean, say what you want about Dak Prescott. He is still, in my view, one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, in the NFC for sure. And he's one of the top 7 in the NFL. I think there's areas that we can help: running back, of course, defensive tackle, linebacker. We addressed it a little bit, wide receiver. If you can get a guy, I think they can do all of that stuff. So I'm not hitting the panic button like I know someone said 7 wins. I mean, give me a break. This team is not gonna win 7 games as long as 4 is healthy, 88's healthy, and 11's healthy. This team is still going to be in the playoffs. Now, will they win in the playoffs? I don't know. That is something we're going to have to see how this team goes. But I want them to fight. I want them to put up that fight, and maybe that's what they need. Maybe they get things too easy. I always say this team they can't be a confident team. They've always done well when their back's up against a wall. And yeah, Jimmy Dee better be drafting a running back. It's going to be interesting to see what the running backs, how they fall. I mean, typically they're undervalued, but last year you saw some running backs go high. I mean, Jimmy, his Falcons got one of them, and great pick. And then you saw the Lions take a running back a lot earlier. A lot of people thought he was going to fall, and maybe the Cowboys would have taken him. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Let's see. Serious. If Dak leaves in free agency, I heard we do, and then I've heard mixed things about it. I'm no capologist, so I'm not sure. To me, what I would say is if they're going to move on from Dak, big mistake in how they've handled it. And what I mean by that is they should have just traded him. They should have traded him. I know there's no trade clause. If you would have went up to Dak Prescott and said, look, man, here's the deal. Your days are numbered. We're rolling with someone else. You can either sit on the bench, you'll collect your money, and we're going to let you go at the end of the year, or we can find you a home. We'll let you go out and look and talk to some teams and see if someone would be interested in trading for you. They could have done that. I think teams would take Dak Prescott, like I said. And I'm still trying to figure out. I think the Cowboys are like the only team that had as a top 7 quarterback at latest top 7. I could even put him higher if you give me a chance to argue it. That people want to get rid of. I mean, Justin Herbert is always kind of the anointed one and always gets a pass. But what the hell has he done? I mean, if we're going to compare, you're going to compare guys. I mean, what has he done? I mean, Josh Allen. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He hasn't gone to a Super Bowl. He's a good quarterback. What I'm saying is it's hard to win a damn Super Bowl. It ain't easy. There's only so many. Think of the quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl in the last 15 years. There's probably just a handful, probably count on one hand. It's not easy. But I'm not going to give him a pass either. I'm not going to say, I'm a Dak. Like some people say, if you say one kind of positive thing about Dak Prescott, you're a Dak apologist. I will say this. It is, he has done everything that you have asked, except in some of these big games. And that's the most important thing, right? And he's played not his best in the beginning of that Green Bay game, man. You got to own it. So let me see here. Oh, Aloha. Is there any realistic scenario where Dak will agree to a trade and we get something for him? I think it's too late for that, Mark. I think it's too late. I think that ship has sailed because these guys now, I mean, unless you did some draft day thing, which I just don't know, unless they're really working something up their sleeve. But Dak's at training camp. He's at the OTAs. He wouldn't be there if that's the case. They would have said, hey, just hold out. So I still think they're going to work something out. I appreciate the super chat too, man. Mark, you're my guy, and I've told you over and over. I believe you are my Hawaiian a friend, my connection in the Aloha state. You need to reach out to me because I have something for you. I just can't seem to get your address. So Mike at cowboyscave.com. You need to email me. You need to email me, Mark. Please do. It'd mean a lot because I want to send you something because you've been very generous and appreciate it. And Herbert's had weapons. I mean, Dak's had some weapons. I mean, Dax has weapons. I'm not going to shortchange that. I think the running game was our Achilles heel. I'm not going to rehash the whole damn season. I'm trying to forget about it. But only one quarterback that I know of can win with guys. Just guys. I mean, every other quarterback needs weapons. I mean, Burrow needs weapons. He has weapons. So draft is huge for us. No, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for the shout out. And it is a huge draft. And we're making this a huge draft because we did nothing in free agency. That's what makes it a huge draft. And we've got to hit triples. We've got to hit home runs. we need at least 3, possibly 4 impact guys out of this draft. 3, possibly 4. If they don't, we could be in trouble. And I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. My man Jimmy Dee, Josh Allen, is a really good quarterback, but he's stupid. Well, you say that. Makes immature decisions on the regular. He does, and he gets a pass for it. He's a turnover machine. Dak Prescott had 1 year where he had a lot of interceptions. And I will say this, we had Crawford Kerr on, former Cowboy. And when you bring up Dak Prescott, he goes, well, you know his problem. He intercepts the ball all the time. And I said, whoa, man, where are you reading that? You know, he had under 10 interceptions last year. He's always been one of the fewest turnovers, like quarterback, lowest interception percentages, usually been under 2%, which is pretty damn good. He had 1 year where he turned the ball over a lot, and I would say half of them were bullshit tips and this and that. I mean, I lived at the Jacksonville debacle. So, and I'm not giving a pass on the turnover, but I'm saying they always throw that up there, and it's bullshit. So, anyway. Dallas is stuck with Dak, and they don't like it. They're not stuck with him. They're not stuck with him. They can figure this thing out. They could have handled it. Players get traded. Quarterbacks get traded. I mean, there's been a list of them. Justin Fields got traded. Quarterbacks in the past have gotten traded. So it's not any surprise. And there's teams that they could have traded him to if they want to. That's why I think they're going to end up giving him an extension. I take the weapons over Cowboys over the Chargers. Anyway, yeah, no, I love the Cowboys. Cowboys have one of the top offenses every year. And that's got to count for something. And Dak has to have something to do with it. But our problem with Dak is not regular season Dak. It's playoff Dak. And that's where he has got to get better. Can't beat playoff caliber teams. Well, they beat Detroit. They beat Philadelphia as a playoff team. Help me out with some teams here. Who the hell was in the playoffs this last year? They beat Tampa Bay last year in the playoffs with Brady. And of course, everyone's going to say some old ass guy. They win. Most of their tough games were on the road. Their losses were on the road. Their home record is pretty damn good, except for the Green Bay game. But you lose to good teams on the road. That is a given. But what I would say is, look at those games they lost last year on the road. What happened? The defense got punched in the mouth and they got steamrolled. And it's what I've said. And I'm not giving Dak a pass, don't get me wrong, but he has to be perfect every game. And what I mean by that, the offense has got to be dominant every game. They have to be. Because that's when Quinn's defense was at its best, when they're playing with the lead and they can, pin their ears back and do all that stuff. That's what I'm saying is, I'm not giving Dak a pass, but I don't understand how the defense and Dan Quinn always seem to get they seem to get the pass and all of it gets thrown on Dak. So I just want to be fair with the blame. There's enough blame to go around for last season. So even if we redo his contract and free up their money, there's no one left to improve this team. I guess JJ thinks his backups will be better. No, they're going to ride with who they got, and appreciate it, Mark. They're going to ride with who they got. There's a few free agents that you can get. And again, I never thought Dallas was going to sign all these guys. I never said they're going to make these big splashes. I was hoping they'd make some strategic moves. I was hoping that they were going to make some strategic moves and signings that was going to get them some dogs and get them over the hump. They didn't do that. Now, there's still a few guys in free agency that they can get. They're not Pro Bowl level, but I don't think you need Pro Bowlers at every position. You need some dogs, like you said. We need some dogs. We need some guys that all they care about is winning. That Eugene Lockhart mentality. That lunch pail. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see. So, yeah, we had one bad interception year. Yep, no, I get it. Let me see. I'm losing my track, so I apologize. If one side plays elite, the other side should do the same. No, I agree. And you look at the Super Bowl, and that's what I said, is like Patrick Mahomes in that offense wasn't doing shit for 3 quarters. But the defense played lights out to keep them just within one possession. And that's all Patrick Mahomes needs. And I'm not comparing Dak to Patrick Mahomes, so calm the hell down. But I'm saying is sometimes a defense has to carry the load. That can't always be on the offense. I mean, the offense, you can't ask an offense to put up 40 points every game. Sometimes you're gonna have to win 20-17. Say what you want. Dak Prescott left the field with the lead in Miami. He left the game with the lead, and he didn't he didn't walk off the field with the win. But when he walked off the field, they were winning, and the defense let them go right down the field. So you blame that on Dak? Can't win a big game, can't win against a playoff team. Well, he left the field; they were winning. So I mean, that's what I'm saying is I've never seen a quarterback get the scrutiny that he gets. And again, playoff success is all it comes down to. I mean, and I get it. There's nothing, as great as Dan Marino was, probably the greatest passer, thrower of the ball that I've ever seen. He didn't win a Super Bowl. Still in the Hall of Fame, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. So, he gets left out when you talk about the greats. It's always Brady. It's always Montana. When you go through those different eras, Bradshaw, Staubach, that's what you talk about. Marino doesn't get put into that level because he never had the Super Bowl, championship. And he says it's something that bothers him, probably to this day. Like the center from Oregon. That's the thing. What are you guys feeling with that first round pick? Let's say we keep the first round pick. Let's say we don't trade out of the first round. If you had a receiver there, a dynamite receiver, would you rather take a receiver than an offensive lineman? I'm going to say this. I think the dude from Oregon's good. I'd be happy with him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not as panicked about our offensive line as most. Now, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm a dumb fan. Maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. For some reason, I just don't have that big of a concern. I have a concern with depth, but I think if you lose your top guys, you're going to be in trouble in almost any position. There's not just a ton of depth all over the place, especially offensive line. So if there is a receiver, if there's a playmaker, this is an offensive league, points, I would look at a receiver over an offensive lineman, or I would flip to the other side. And if an interior defensive tackle was there, I would be more apt to take him over an offensive lineman. I could be wrong. So we will see what happens. You don't think he'll be there. You don't think he's going to be there at 24. Every mock draft has him between 27 and 30. But again, it's a mock draft. That's why we do them. It's for fun. I think a lot of it is going to play how the board goes. If you get a run on receivers, people start panicking and start bumping up to get a receiver. Same thing with, defensive ends and, these key positions. Offensive line could be that way where, these teams end up going, doing that stuff. So we'll see what happens. What does he say? Come on, Mike. What are you bitching at? Depth. We don't have. You're saying it because I think our offensive line is going to be good. Is that what you're saying, SoCal? Am I crazy because I think I'm not as worried about our offensive line? And you could say I'm crazy. I accept that. I mean, we'll see. I just think, depending on what you do with Tyler, right? He's going to be guard. If he stays at guard, I think the problem. Oh, you're saying because I play receiver. I think the problem is the left tackle. Obviously, now I know they got some guys. They got Richards. They got the let's go. I think is he still there? He's always been around. They got some guys that they think can plug in. I'd be more concerned. I'm saying if Tyler were to play left tackle and you put Bassett guard, you put Hoffman at center, I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling pretty good with our offensive line. I don't think we've had this great wall, right? And in 2016 and before that, and we've had all these offensive line. You could argue. You definitely got 2 Hall of Famers on the line. If Travis Frederick didn't get hurt, I mean, you would have had 3. And what did that get us? I mean, Kansas City didn't have an all-world offensive line. Brady never really had. I mean, a good offensive, but it's not like he had an all-world offensive line. I think it's more continuity. I think when you it was funny. Kevin Gogan, he talked about it, and if you watch the show, give a plug all you 300 people on X, get your ass over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. God dang it, I gotta beg you guys. You guys are driving me nuts. But no, I'm just kidding. But Kevin Gogan talked about on our show. You think about it. Let's just be real. There was Kevin Gogan, 2-A, and Nate Newton. 3 parts of that great wall. Super Bowl offensive line is 7th round pick, 8th round pick, 10th round, whatever it was. These guys were late round draft picks. All of them were on that shitty ass team in the late 80s. Forget 89, talking 88, 87, some of it 86. And I asked him, I said, well, what made the difference? All you guys are there. Why wasn't it so dominant then? He said coaching. He said coaching made the biggest difference with that offensive line. You think about it. Eric Williams, 3rd round pick. Stepnoski was he a 2nd round pick, 2nd or 3rd round pick? I mean, it wasn't like they brought in a bunch of first rounders. I mean, we've had 1st round Tyron, 1st round Frederick, 1st round Martin, 1st round Tyler. I mean, we've put a premium on offensive line. It hadn't got nowhere. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe it's coaching that we've got to get better at with this offensive line. Maybe that's some of the difference. But I'm not saying we don't need depth, but I don't need depth with my 1st round pick. I need a guy that start. I need a 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round pick. My first 3 picks better be starters. If not starters, they better be guys that can impact the game, because we didn't sign anybody. So that's the reality of it. And if you're going to draft a guy, I ain't drafting for depth in the first 3 picks. I need guys that can get their ass on the field. And I think, the center from Oregon, he could. I'm not saying that he couldn't. And I wouldn't hate the pick if they picked him. But I'm saying if someone were to fall into their lap, it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed to pass it up. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. We've got, let's mix it up with this chat. Mitchell could help the O-line out a whole lot more. Yeah. I mean, he could. He's a damn good receiver. So, and the center, offensive tackle, running back, defensive tackle, linebacker. I think linebacker is a spot. I think they're going to have to grab someone. I think defensive tackle, to me, that's the concern. Defenses, and shout out to Nick's too, because he talked about it, but I've said it for, as I gotten older. As a kid, I always wanted the skill guys. Games are won in the trenches, and you got to be strong up the middle, just like at baseball, right? You got the catcher, shortstop, second base, center field. You got to be strong up the middle. And on our defense, I don't know if we're very strong up the middle. Now, Kendricks at middle linebacker, okay, that's good. Safeties, okay. They could be good. We just don't know because we moved a couple of them to linebacker last year. So we'll see what happens to Bell. Wanye is going to get, more opportunity. You still got, Wilson, who's going to be he's a hard hitting guy that, Zimmer likes blitzing those kind of safeties. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens. Offensive line or linebacker. Let's see, Brian Murphy. Oh yeah, a lot of Texas. We might get a lot of Texas guys. I'm a Miami guy. I'm still saying I'm a little upset. I need to see Miami. And I've had some mock drafts where Cam Kitchens is falling to us if we do the trades right. And I'm just telling you, if Cam Kitchens is in our grasp in the 3rd round or something like that, man, I'm gonna have a hard time not taking him. And he's good. And I'll go back years ago. I wanted Dallas to take Devin Hester from Miami when he was coming out. Not a lot of people knew about it because he was kind of the gadget guy. He ran, he was defense, he was a cornerback, he was a receiver, he was a return guy. And I'm like, dude, just get him on the team, please. He's a game changer. And he did it for Chicago. I mean, he single-handedly won games for them. And that's where I wish that, we need playmakers, like Miami. Playmakers. There's playmakers out there. That's what we need. Guys who have a nose for the football. And Cam Kitchens, 11 or 12 interceptions. I mean, he had the most at safety. I mean, you're going back to like Sean Taylor time and Ed Reed. I mean, he's something. So yeah, Xavier Worthy would be an interesting one. Do we feel Hoffman can be the man at center, which would allow us to? I think so, Jeff. I think Hoffman could be it. Now, again, I'm sitting in a chair in my house, so it's easy for me to say. I'm not at practice, and I'm not a scout. I'm not a coach. So I'm just saying I think he could. I think he seems like he has a little nasty to him. The thing I saw with Bass and Hoffman, when they had opportunity to play, they were nasty. They were, and you saw, like Kevin go, like that great wall, man. They were nasty, man. When Crawford Kerr was in here talking, they're nasty. I mean, I tell you guys a story. If you missed it, man, you need to go back and watch that Crawford Kerr interview. Kevin Gogan called in, and they were just shit talking each other back and forth. There was a time, and I think it was the '89 game against Washington, where Kevin Gogan was in the huddle, and he told them, he said, "This ref keeps calling me for holding. I'm going to knock his ass out the next play," and he steamrolled him. And he got a penalty, whatever. And the ref came up and said, "You did that on purpose." And they reenacted the whole thing. It was funny as shit. And he's like, "Dude, we're 1-15. Who cares? I mean, what am I going to do?" But that's the nasty. He was nicknamed Big Nasty for a reason. And that's what I want to see on this offensive line. I don't need to see the guys that, have all world talent and this and that. I mean, you got to have some of that. Don't get me wrong. But you got to have a guy in that line that's got a nasty streak to him that it's contagious. It's contagious to the rest of the team. Bell will be good. Wilson and Hooker. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. But I just think Cam Kitchens is a playmaker. We don't have, those guys that you mentioned. I think they'll be able to do service and do the job. But playmakers are hard to find. And what I mean by that, it's just guys that have a nose for the football. And for whatever reason, and, if you're not a Miami fan, obviously you haven't seen him or you don't know much about it. He was always around the football. He always had an interception in a game, it seemed like. He always, when there was a fumble, he always happened to be there. He was a hard hitter. I mean, he's pretty. Now, I don't think the Cowboys are going to draft him. I don't think they feel they need a safety. I'm just saying I'd be very hard to pass up. Some team's going to be very happy to have him. Bland and Diggs are good to go. I wish we could have retained Gilmore. They could have. And, Gilmore hadn't signed with anyone unless I missed something. So I'm not saying it's the end of the line for him, but I think that's going to be one of those mistakes because, Gilmore is a constant. I mean, he's a guy that you can rely on. And I'm not saying you can't rely on Diggs and Bland, but you need to have more than a couple cornerbacks. I mean, Jay Lou is good. I mean, he's serving, but he's not Gilmore. But that's going to be interesting. Would love to see is the Oregon center. I'm not going to hate it. My man. I am not going to. Hopefully that's 33 for Tony Dorsett. Maybe a 33 showing some love. And I saw that Damone Clark is not wearing 33 anymore, and I think that's a good move. I don't think anyone should be wearing 33 unless you're come out of college and you're an all-world running back. We'll hand you the 33, but I don't think a defensive player should be wearing 33. Larry Carter, appreciate you tuning in, man. Hopefully you hit that subscribe too, but I think you've been on the show, right? I remember you. Love to see my Miami Hurricanes. How about us getting Leonard Taylor? Leonard Taylor's another one. I mean, Miami's got some talented guys. I mean, I know they've been down. They're like my Cowboys, right? We've had some tough patches, but they've got some talented guys that are coming through, and I think you're going to start to see that in years to come with Miami. So seeing a lot of you where he's going to he's hard to hit Hoffman at center, where he's going hard at it. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Hoffman's he's a tough player. So if we didn't take Cam in the third round, I'm going to be pissed. It all matters. Like I said, we got to get 3 starters. Running back seems to be the thing that is there. I think if Dallas goes with a running back in the second round and Cam's sitting there in the third, I mean, you got to think about it. We need a dog at safety. I agree. Mikey Schefter, man, he's been riding the Cam train for a while. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see how we feel. Have a feel Jerry Jones will once again pull a rabbit out of the hat. I hope so, Larry. I mean, I need something. The Cowboy Nation is hurting. And like I said, life of a Cowboy fan, that's what we're talking about. That was kind of the theme that I was coming in at, man. It's hard right now. A lot of fans are getting their excitement and making fun of us. They're getting we're giving them a few months, and we don't have a lot to come back on. I mean, you really think about it. We got embarrassed in the playoffs, so you really can't say a whole lot about that. We want to forget that, right? And then we're like, okay, we're out for blood. We're going to make some big changes, and nothing really happened. I mean, I would have fired Quinn because you knew he was leaving. I wouldn't have let him hang around. I would have fired him. You let him hang around, and then free agency, you're like, all right, well, we're going to pick up some guys, and then you see guys going for pennies on the dollar. You see guys signing, and we did nothing. I mean, we signed, Kendrick, which I think is a good signing. Don't get me wrong, but he was going to San Francisco, and Zimmer kind of stole that. But aside from that happening, we had nothing. I mean, we don't have anything to show for it. And they sign, my man Rolls Royce. I mean, it's okay, but he's not a lead dog. He's not a second back. I mean, he's probably like the guy that we signed from Tampa last year, is kind of a in case emergency break glass. If we end up with no running back in the draft and we end up, in this shitty spot at running back, then you've got him, I guess. I don't feel great about it. And a lot of people dog Zeke, and I'm not saying we should have re-signed Zeke or not. I think Zeke's role could have had a pretty good role here, being short yardage, goal line, pass protection if needed, that kind of role for him. He's not going to be a 20 carry guy. He would be in that, into that role. I mean, Royce was averaging under 3 yards a carry. He was averaging 2.8 yards a carry. So it's not like, he wasn't having a better year the last few years than Zeke. So anyway, I get it, man. We want some fresh faces, so that's fine. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. But it's gonna be interesting. And the patience of Cowboys Nation is being tested as we sit here. And as every day goes by and you continue to hear Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, they love that microphone, right? They want this microphone in their face and they want to talk all this shit and try and sell it. But the problem is they're selling the same stuff that they've been selling, and a lot of people ain't buying it. And, actions, I always say, speak louder than words. And Jerry talks a lot, and he's funny, and we all get a kick out of it. He's like, he's like the grandpa for the younger generation. He's like the old uncle for the others that come to the party and make everyone laugh, and, just kind of, mixes it up with everyone. But it's getting tiresome not seeing the results that you should have. I mean, you think about it. You're going on 30 years of not, forget winning a Super Bowl, being in a Super Bowl, being in a championship game. That is embarrassing for Cowboy fans. And we have to live that. We got to defend that every week, every day, because it gets thrown in our face. It gets, all right, who we got? Washington there. I mean, Bills fans. You understand what I just said? Let me say it one more time. Bills fans are talking shit to us. The team that couldn't win a Super Bowl. The team that hasn't been to a Super Bowl in a longer drought than we have. And they're running their mouths. I mean, they're 0-4 in Super Bowls. San Francisco, they're running their mouths. They hadn't won a Super Bowl since before us, technically. Now they haven't won. So, but now, I don't want to get to the point as a Cowboy fan where I'm just saying, hey, man, I just want to get to the Super Bowl. I don't want to just get to the Super Bowl. I want to freaking win a Super Bowl. If we go to the Super Bowl to lose, I'd rather us not be there. But I'd love the opportunity. Tough being a Cowboy fan these days and a Hurricane fan. So, yes, you feel the pain. I mean, Miami's 2001. It's been a long time for the Canes, too, and the Canes haven't been competitive. Like, we had our 1 year with Malik Rozier where they got ranked, I think, as high as 4 or something like that. But, I mean, it's been a long time for them, too. So, hopefully, Cam Ward from the Canes is going to turn this around. I got my good luck piece by Cuts by Jones behind me over on this side. You see the U. Yeah, he said, Mike, I got to change things for you. We got to get the U in the cave. So I made that because I'm very particular. It's got to be a special piece if I'm going to mix it in with my other stuff. So he went ahead and did that, got that going. I got the Cowboy nameplate, Mike Tag, you see behind. So the mojo is changing. So maybe Cuts is going to get the credit. And if you guys are smart, and I know you follow Cuts by Jones, you need to reach out to him and you need to get a custom cut. Any Cowboys, any Rangers winning some, win a World Series, get a cut like that. So that's what you got to do, man. Right? Cuts. That's what you got. There's Cuts right there, man. How do you not get a Cuts by Jones? Look at that, man. Look at that face. As a Cowboys fan, it's a serious look. That's a pissed off look. That's a look of, God damn it, we need to win a Super Bowl. And if we get some cuts by Jones, and change that mojo, change the mojo a little bit. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough. But hopefully, like I said, man, we're going to get this thing figured out. I'm not losing hope. I've been doing some cameos. Those of you guys know, I jump on Cameo a little bit. I've been hyping up Cowboys Nation. I've actually had to people sending me money to say, man, you got to give us a little bit of hope. You got to give us a little bit of hope and mix in a happy birthday if you could. But and it's hard. I mean, hope is what you want, right? That's what I don't want to say hope is what you hope for, but hope is what you want. Beginning of the year, you want to know you got a fighting chance for the Super Bowl. And, if you look at the roster today, I think it's a playoff team, but I don't know how far they'd get. And without a running back, I don't even know if it's a playoff team. But they're going to get a running back in the draft. Watch them not get one. That's really, you want to talk about Cowboys Nation going crazy. So sending SoCal a gift cut for being a loyal K fan. That's what we're talking about. See, that's what you do. You give back. That's what we do in the cave. So the way you guys give back is get your ass over. Let's see how many we got, because I can see it. 371 watching on Twitter, watching on X. Get your lazy asses over to YouTube and hit that subscribe, because when we get to 3,000 subscribers, I am giving away a beautiful Funko signed by Bob Lilly, Mr. Cowboy, #1 pick all time for the Cowboys, one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. And then when we get to 5,000, which we can do it quickly, all it'll take you guys to get over there, get to 5,000. If we can get it done before the beginning of the season, I got 2 seats, club seats, my club seats for a home game for you to take the person of your choice. If you're smart, you take me because we'll have a good time. But if you don't want to take me, you say, screw you. I'll take who the hell I want. Maybe you're going to take Cuts. Giving you maybe he'll throw in a cut if you take him, and you take Cuts by Jones, or you take Kelly, you take Jimmy Dee because it's the Falcons, but that's on the road, so you're not getting no ticket for that. But maybe you want to have Jimmy come to a stadium to see a real team play. Because I bet you he stays up late every night wishing he could see a real team play. So he can go on to AT&T and we could show him how a real team plays. Because we're going to bring it. We're going to bring it. We're going to bring it. So anyway, let's see. Cuts, yes, he does amazing gifts. It could be gifts. It could be a gift for a friend. It could be a gift for your husband or wife. It could be a gift for me. Maybe you say, hey, I need to get, someone send Mike another cut. Get him a cut so we could do that. So championship drought needs to end. I mean, that's why Cowboys Nation's loyalty is being tested. It's being tested because we're sick of this shit. We are sick of not winning and getting to the Super Bowl. And like I said, it's 30. You're getting close to 30 years. And you think about the drought was 77 to 90, 77 and 92 season, right? That was the longest drought that the Cowboys ever had. And that's not near, that ain't near. What was that, 15 years? My math, something like that. My Broward education sometimes can fail me on the fly, but, you're talking double that we're at. I mean, it's unbelievable. I would have never in my life guessed that this could possibly ever happen where you're not winning a Super Bowl in that long of a period of time. And with the talent, that's why I say, Jerry Jones is crazy. Don't get me wrong. He's been doing some crazy shit. And he is, some of the decision making is questionable. And Steven, he plays a big part of that, probably more than Jerry does. But you can't deny that this team has been talented. You can't deny, and I forget the last 3 years. I mean, you can go back the Romo year. You can go back some years. This team has had opportunities and have had enough talent on this roster to win a Super Bowl, but they don't get it done. They don't get it done when it matters the most. And like I said, I'm not going to put it on one person. It's a team. Emmitt Smith. I think it was him who said that a lot of times these players are living off what they built. And like when Michael Irvin, he had said, they were in the conversation together and said, they appreciated what was built before them, but they wanted to create their own legacy. And that's what this team needs to do. I mean, that should be what you want. It's like I said, if you win a Super Bowl in Dallas, you're a made man. I mean, you're never not gonna make some money if you want to. You're never gonna not be able to do an appearance. You're never not gonna be able to go to a tailgate party and collect a check and sign some autographs, take some pictures with fans. Because I mean, Super Bowl champion. When they say Super Bowl champion, I mean, we love it. And you think about 30 years. You think they hadn't won in 30 years. What would it be like if this team won a Super Bowl? I mean, we don't want riots in the streets, but it's going to be riots in the streets. Hopefully it's not, but there's going to be some partying, and it's going to be all over the world. I mean, like I said, they're world's team. I mean, there's so many people, there's fans all over the place. 3 decades, embarrassing. Yeah, we've had some talent. Yep, 2007, 14, 16, 23. I mean, you can even sprinkle in some other teams, other seasons in between that, that were definitely talented enough to get to the Super Bowl. Maybe you got Brady in the way. Maybe the outcome would have been different, but Philly found a way to beat them. The Giants found a way to beat them twice. So the NFC knew how to beat Brady. We just never got our opportunity in the Super Bowl. But I mean, that's what they got to do. I mean, it's just it'll never make sense to me how we haven't gotten there. But then I look at these two guys and I see that look on Steven's face, and I see that look on Jerry's face. I've seen that look before, and I'm sick of looking at it. And I want to see less of them. They talk about the players doing podcasts. We talk about the players. We talk about this. I mean, I'm sick of these guys talking. I know it's their team. They can do what the hell they want, but I'm sick of these guys talking. And I said it, in this video I made. A lot of people forget, and then when you talk to these guys, we've had all these former players on. They did a lot of stuff, man. It just wasn't all over social media. These guys were out partying night before games. These guys were doing some things. So I don't want it to be, oh, well, these guys can't have lives. It's different because it's social media. Like the players today are more accessible than they ever were. It's like I said, my son played, Madden with Des Bryant. I mean, that was his childhood, favorite player, favorite Cowboy of all time, the guy he looked up to, and he's playing Madden with him. I mean, that didn't happen. I didn't meet Tony Dorsett until I was a grown up and he was retired and he was doing a signing somewhere. So I'm just saying it's just different. The players are a lot more accessible now. They're on social media. They're interacting. They're doing podcasts. They're doing all these different things. And I know some of us, the old school people are like, man, just focus on football. Focus on football. Well, you listen to some of the interviews we had in the cave. They weren't focusing on football every day. These old guys either. The generation before, they were doing some crazy shit. Let's just be honest. But it was just a different era. It just wasn't all over social media. It wasn't plastered all over social media, all over the place. So it just was a different, just different time. So again, it's just, that's just the way it was. That's just the way it was. But yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit. We're getting close to an hour. I got to see what shows are on. Chicago PD. It's coming on at 10. I've missed Chicago Fire and all this kind of stuff. So the media already saying Texans the best team from of course. But this is what I'm saying, man. This is what you want. I want this. I don't want Dallas to be, held on a pedestal. They haven't done well every time it's happened, and it's always happens. And you got to give Texans a credit. I'm not going to hate on the Texans. They've done a very good job with their roster. They've put together, and we'll see how CJ does. He was the one guy I said was going to be the best rookie last year. I said he was going to be the best rookie. I thought he was a great quarterback at Ohio State, and I didn't think he got enough enough props going in the draft. Now he's taking second, so I guess it's didn't hate him too much, but let him talk, man. I don't give a shit, man. I'll be in Arlington for the Rangers game next month. It's May a good month to take a tour of Frisco. May. They'll be there. I mean, there's always going to be guys there. It's not as good as when they're there during the season. I did a tour I had to stay Monday. That was a pretty cool day. Saturday, I went and I saw Dak Prescott was 5 feet from me. I saw Trey Lance. I saw Jake Ferguson, Sam Williams, but it was like family day. So they were all there with their families. But they were all just chilling out. And I heard the people with the knocking on the glass like they're at a zoo, and their weight room's like a one-way, whatever mirror you call that, where you can see in, they can't see out. But I didn't see any of that shit, man. I've done tours. Every stadium offers that. So that's a cop out to me with Schultz. I mean, he's just kind of stupid, but anyway, yeah, appreciate it, fan. Yeah, no, man, I love it, man. And I would love it more if 412 people on X get their ass over to YouTube and hit subscribe. It would make me so happy if we hit 3,000 subscribers and I had to do my giveaway. That'd make your boy happy. That would make your boy happy. So all you guys that are hanging, listening, watching, I do appreciate it. And I just love talking, so I don't really care. But subscribers help. It helps the show. It kind of helps get some traction, helps get the word out, helps spread the, and hopefully you guys hit the alert and you see a lot of shit that's going on. So another super chat, man. Mark, I can't believe this. What is your football background? Ever coach, play ball? Appreciate your show. I sent you an email. Perfect. I don't hate Dak. Just think he's net worth. So here's the deal. I'll give you my football. I love football. Played street football. I was 100 pounds in high school. I grew up in Broward County. If you guys don't know, that's just north of Miami. 112-pound kid playing high school football. Not a good thing. I hit my growth spurt late. So I did not play high school football because I didn't want to be a tackling dummy and get the shit beat out of me. So we had running backs that were like 200 pounds, 215. So I wrestled in high school. So I found a sport that, I can do a little fighting, someone my own size. So I wrestled for high school. And honestly, that's the one thing that, we talk with Sherman Williams tomorrow. Sports and athletics. I've always played sports, played football, baseball, all that stuff growing up. But sports changed everything for me in high school because I was kind of a knucklehead. I did some not bad choices, but I was class clown, did some stupid shit and wasn't making the grade. So my first year wrestling, I'm ashamed to say it, but I'll say it anyway, is I didn't make grades. So my first year wrestling, I couldn't wrestle because I couldn't make the grades, but I went to practice every single day because I said I love the sport and I had such a great time and I just had a connection. My coach was great. Everything was good. I wanted to get better. So I went to practice every day knowing I wasn't going to be able to wrestle. I was basically the one that they would beat the hell out of because they hurt me. It doesn't matter. But I took that as a lesson. And I made sure I got my grades up. And the next, for every year after, I made my grades and had a fun career. Fun career in wrestling. It's a tough sport. I always say everyone should wrestle in high school. If you have a kid, you should have him wrestle. It does something. It changes your mentality, your work ethic, confidence, everything that you do, because you can always go back to that. If I have a bad day at work or, in sales, I used to have these tough times. I go back to wrestling and say, man, I think about that match or think about something and say, you know what? I survived this. I can survive anything. I can do anything. So I think wrestling really changes your mentality because it's an individual sport. You can't blame the guard. You can't blame the quarterback. You can't blame the cornerback. You can't blame the running back. If you got your ass whooped, the only person you can blame is the one that's staring back at you in the mirror. So that's my sports high school story for you. Don't tap on the window when you go. Don't be bothering nobody. Don't be bothering nobody. But yeah. So anyway, I appreciate it. You guys, thank you for the love. Mark, thank you for the super chat. I'll be looking for that email you sent. So thank you guys so much. And again, everyone watching on X, 422, you still left. When you get done, when I get done, do your boy a huge favor. I'd love you to death. If you just scoot on over, hit that subscribe, hit the little like if you enjoy it. And again, we've done probably 27, 28 interviews of former NFL players, mostly Cowboys, talking about their career. It's kind of a history lesson, but it's really fun stories. And most of them still follow the Cowboys or follow the team. So we still kind of, we'll talk about the current Cowboys and they'll give their perspective. And like I said, the beauty of guys that are retired, they don't give a shit. They're going to tell you how they feel, good, bad, or indifferent, but they educate you. So we've got Sherman Williams coming in tomorrow into the cave, former Alabama star running back, former running back for the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl 30 champion. He's going to come in and share his story. He wrote it's a 3-part book. He's got 2 done, Crimson Cowboy, excellent, book and story about his life and the trials and kind of how he obviously moved on to better things and turned a negative into a positive. And then next week we got a jam-packed show. Jimmy D and I Monday, we're doing a mock draft. Jimmy D and I are doing a mock draft. It's going to be a Falcon Cowboy draft. So it's 2 for Monday. That's what you get. We'll have some fun with it. And then, because Jimmy don't know nothing about college, so I'll tell him who to take, save the good players for the Cowboys. And then we've got George Teague, defender of the Star. He's coming into the cave on Wednesday, special night Wednesday. And then Thursday, Kelly and I are going to kick it for the draft, get some beers, hang with you guys. We're going to have the lines open so you guys can pop in. Hopefully we'll get some other content creators to pop in and just have a good time. So it's going to be a lot of fun just watching the draft, chilling, very casual interaction with everyone, kind of like similar to the way it is tonight. And we'll do that. So it's going to be fun. And then I'm going to actually, Kelly and I are going to be on Cowboys Can Fan. If you guys don't know them, check them out on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe for them. And then might be on UK Cowboys on Saturday as well. So make sure you look for that. Make sure you subscribe to those guys as well. And I just say this for anything. I know I beg for subscribers. Someone says I need to do that more. So that's why I'm trying to get better at it, because people forget and people just don't think about it. But you have some really good content creators in Cowboys Nation. And it's better than any I've seen. And I enjoy watching them. I always catch a show. Sometimes I'm like a stealth. I go in late at night, I watch it, get up on my way to work and watch it. Sometimes if I'm just working in the office, I'll put it on as background. Just some great people that put a lot of work and a lot of effort into bringing you guys great Cowboys content, because you know what? I'm sick of this shit with ESPN and NFL Network. It's nothing but soap opera, drama, bullshit. And I love listening to Tuck. I love listening to Law. I love listening to Coles. I love listening to Cowboys Can Fan, UK. Obviously Mark Holmes. All the great content creators, Primetime Phil and Brian. All these guys that do just great stuff. Boys in the Zone. See, I'm going to start going. I'll start messing up. Pick Six Sports with Knicks, and I mean, just so much good stuff, man. That you have got to, support those channels by just watching, man. They do a lot of DMV, CFO, CFO Sports with Tuck. There's just so many Rome. There's so many good stuff. See, I'm just trying to think of the names. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but they don't care. I'm just a peon in the business anyway. But they do a lot of work, and that's the way you support it. Jimmy D, of course, that's the way you support it. You support the channels. It's just, checking it out. So again, I spend my time there, and I say hell with ESPN and NFL Network. When it comes to Cowboy stuff, all the other stuff, have at it. Use them. But for the Cowboys, man, support your Cowboys content creators on YouTube, man. It's great stuff, and they do great things. So again, appreciate it. My last plea is to all you guys on X, when I get done, run over to YouTube. My link is in the in my bio, and I'm going to do this for you too. I'm going to make it easy for you. Let me get this thing going right now. I am going to copy and paste in here. So those of you guys who see it, I make it, there's no effort. all you got to do is click on that, on that little link that I did, and it should take you to my channel. And then you go ahead and subscribe, and there's nothing else you need to do. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. So again, appreciate all the love. You guys take care. I'll see you tomorrow night. That'll be our normal show. Kelly K9 in the house. Sherman Williams in the house. We're going to talk some football. We're going to talk a little bit of Canes and Alabama because he was part of that with George Teague. I keep reliving this nightmare with these guys with my Canes. So, and it's free. Thank you. And I keep reliving that nightmare, that championship games. We're going to talk about that. But more importantly, we'll talk about the Super Bowls. We'll talk about his life, things that he's doing in the community now as a positive in his charities and his foundation. So you guys take care. Have a great evening. Appreciate you hanging with me while I've been so low. Take care.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.